Hello everybody, this is SoCal Thero. Today I'm going to do a tutorial for everybody on how to make a template and UV map it to your vehicle here. I get a lot of requests, questions, training, help advice for this process. So I decided I would go ahead and make a tutorial video for it. I've been saying I was going to, and now finally getting around to doing it. So the things you need first is a vehicle that you want to template. I got a request recently on my TA5 mods download for all the vanilla vehicles that I have that are template to do the Liberator or the monster truck in the game. So I'm going to go ahead and do that today. I've never done it before, so hopefully it goes smoothly or smooth. Wow, it should go smoothly. But you need to do first is get your vehicle imported into ZModeler. If you have ZModeler, I'm pretty sure you know this already, how to do it. And make sure all of the textures are in there. Make sure nothing is showing as missing down here in the message bar. But the next thing you want to do is in my project file, I have a PNG file. This is going to be where your template is. You can name it whatever you want. I usually do like a sign one. Always do underscore sign underscore one. This is how you do multi-livery. That's the beginning part of it, and then this can be whatever you want it to be. So then I'm gonna change it to we'll say monster sign one. Actually, I'll just typical almost Thero one. So what you want to do is you want to edit this file. You can edit it with Paint, Photoshop, it doesn't matter. But all you want to do in it is you want to have a blank canvas like this. You want to go to resize. You want to go to pixels, and you want to turn off the maintain aspect ratio. Make sure that's not on because I might jack it up. But these are the two values that you want it to be at. This is what they call, if you've ever seen it, 2K liveries for vehicles. Is this size? It's 2048 for horizontal and vertical. If you want to do 4K, what you do is you bump it up to 4096, 396. Okay. So what we're gonna do today is a 2K one. I usually always do a 2K, and then if I do paint jobs myself, I'll bump it up to a 4K one with 496. You can. I would suggest probably UV mapping at 2048. And then if you want to make a paint job, change the size to 4096 and then put it on the vehicle. It should still work regardless if it's not UV mapped for that size or not. So what you do is you just edit the size. You're going to go ahead and save it. And you're temporarily done with it for the meantime. So the easiest way to do this is, as you can see, we have our vehicle here. I'm going to go ahead and hide all in my ZModeler here. Then what you're going to be looking for is anything that has a paint job. Like this has the body shell is usually one. Doors are going to be another one. Usually bumper, which, oh yeah, I guess in this case it is. And what is it? Okay, that's the flag. We don't need to worry about that. Chassis, yeah, we don't need to worry about that as well. That real quick. I'm trying to find the fender and the hood there. Must be under something different or in one of these. Or there's the hood, okay. And it's also the fenders. Okay, perfect. So we have the entire paint job for the vehicle here now. So what we're gonna do next is you're gonna select detach polygons. You're gonna go to select quad, and you're going to do it by material. So what we're going to do is we're going to detach a specific material. This is what makes this process so much faster and easier. So what you're going to do, you're going to go up to polygon mode, select the piece you want to work with first. It doesn't matter which order you do it in. I'm just going to start with the front bumper, and your screen should look like this. What you're going to do is select by the material, and it will usually be named this vehicle generic small spec map, but it usually doesn't say paint 1, it'll say paint 2. That is usually your paint job, and in the case of this one there might be 2 because there's probably a separate paint job for these stickers, and then there's a separate paint job for the body of the vehicle as well. This one right here, the vehicle generic door shut, this is the one that people always forget, and it looks tacky if you don't do it, but it's basically the insides of the door. So if, let's say, you did your entire template and then you don't do the inside of the doors, you could have an all black vehicle and then the inside of the doors is white. It looks tacky. It's cheap. Just take the extra time to make it right and do it the correct way. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna select both of these just in case. And as you can see, I highlighted it now. So what I'm gonna do is left click to detach it, and it's gonna detach everything that's part of that paint job. Then you're gonna deselect it, and if you look over here, I'm gonna take off bumper front. So anything that was not part of the paint job is left behind on there still. So if I do from down here where it detached itself, now there's only this remaining. This is not part of the paint job of the vehicle. So that's what this bumper front is here. So we're going to go ahead and leave that for now. You're going to do this with all the pieces on the vehicle. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to do the hood or bonnet next. And the reason I'm selecting all of it, like I'm selecting both, is because I don't really care for this sticker. I'm going to re-template this vehicle using just one paint job. So that way, if you want to add a sticker, you can do that. So if you take off bonnet here, as you can see, the grill, everything else comes out of it here, and it's just the paint job. So we're going to do that with the rest of the vehicle. Most vehicles, this is a little bit of a longer process because you got multiple doors, you got fenders, stuff like that. In the case of this vehicle, it won't be too bad just because it doesn't have much other than, like I said, a few doors, a bumper, and the body of the vehicle itself. So I did the passenger door. Now I'm doing the driver's side door here just to get it all detached. Take this off, and as you see, that all that remains is the interior of the car, which is fine. We don't want to touch that. So we got all this. Oh, driver's side door is done. Passenger side door is done. Bonnet's done. So the last thing to do is the body shell. So for the body shell of the vehicle, we're gonna attach that as well. Hopefully there should be something inside so it detaches. Okay, perfect. Now, sometimes you'll get an error message down here that says you can't detach all. The reason that happens is because there's nothing else other than the paint job on that specific dummy that's on here in the demodeler. So if that's the case, you can't do anything about it. You're just going to have to work with the entire thing and not detach it. What I usually do is I'll dismiss it as being a compound, and then I'll just take one of them and move it down there just to keep it nice and organized. But in this case, vehicle's already done. Everything's detached. Now, the next part that I like to do, well, actually, let me save this first. I just don't want to lose it. My Z modeler likes to crash every now and then. Save that. So now all you're left with is the paint job for the vehicle. Everything else is still there. It's just not being highlighted right now, which is fine. So next thing you want to do is you want to take and start detaching stuff based on its view. So like you don't want to have this entire front bumper in your template and then it starts stretching over into these sides of it. Let's say somebody put police across here, across the whole front bumper. If you don't detach this, it's going to stretch all the way around the corner and look tacky. What you want to do is you want to look out for key things that are wrapping around to a different view of the vehicle. We'll get into that more a little bit later on once I get to it, but the prime example of stuff that usually doesn't need that is like the doors, because they're sitting on one side flush, so you don't need to worry about that unless there's an interior piece in here that you got to worry about, again with that vehicle door shut. But the typical ones are usually your bumpers. Sometimes it's the boot or the trunk of the vehicle, but at 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the body shell, the bumpers, and the boot. The bonnet on this one, you usually wouldn't have to, but on this one we do because it has fenders that are part of it. So we're going to be taking off this portion of it as well. So what we're going to do right now first, though, is we're going to do the bumper. So what I like to do anyways, is I'll come down here. I'll kind of look to see what looks like it's close, and I'll highlight it. So now I know this is going to probably be my separator right here. So what I do from the side view is I'll highlight everything that I want, and then I'll select some of the stuff that I don't care about. Try to keep like a line going here, which that's probably as good as it's. That's gonna go. So the reason I do that from the left view and not from this view is because not only does it select it over here, it selects it on the other side as well. So I don't have to spin around and measure and make sure I get the correct the polygons on the other side, so I don't have one side longer than the other. You do it from either the left or the right view, you'll be able to select both sides to detach them at the same time. So now that I have everything selected, I'm going to go ahead and detach it. Now that it's detached, I'm going to go into the polygon mode again. I'm going to select what I just detached. Now I'm going to deselect one of them. It doesn't matter which one you do. And now this is its own piece. This is its own piece. And this front bumper is its own. So now when I'm doing the template for the left side of the vehicle, the right side of the vehicle, and the front, each one has, the template has one for each part of this bumper. So if you look down here, I'm going to move this bumper here. I just like to keep them together. It's just OCD, I guess. But see, now that piece is gone. That's going to be where I template from the front of the vehicle. And you have the left side and the right side. So that's done. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the bonnet, the hood of the vehicle. So we're going to deselect all that again. And usually with GTA or Rockstar vehicles, it's a little bit easier to do. So I'm going to see if it is on this. I like to go to separate and see if I can highlight just the one area I want to do, which it's working on this one, which is great. That's why I love working on Rockstar cars, because they're already made to do this. Pretty simple. So this should deselect everything on this side, make a fender. However, it's not going through because I'm not using the left side. I have to remember to do that to the right side as well to keep it even. So now that I have those selected, I'm going to detach them, and then you always want to check to make sure that everything goes with it, which as you can see, not everything did. I got these little pieces back here that didn't detach. So I'm going to undo that, undo it again. Then we're going to enter polygon mode, and I still have my highlights from the previous one, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these pieces that got missed in here, just make sure I get them all, which it looks like I did now. And if I deselect it this time, now I have everything that I want to have. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select this again, and I'm going to, like before, detach the one side. So now for the hood, I have the entire hood that disappears. Then I have the left front fender and the right front. But we're not done yet because we still have more to this bonnet. We have the front of the bonnet as well in this case, which in case somebody wants to do a paint job on there, that's why I like to my options open here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to highlight everything in the front of it as well. So we got the grill, we got this, and I probably want to go up to here. So we're going to highlight that so I know where I have a reference. So probably there. Yeah, that looks about right. And yeah, that should be fine. We're going to detach it here in a second. Just so this is going to be for the front view of the vehicle in case somebody wants to put like a logo or something up here on this trim on the grill. So if you look, now you see we just have this hood. That's all that remains, which is what we want because we're going to use that when we go to do the UV mapping. We're going to go ahead and move this down to keep them together. Again, OCD. And now the hood is done. The last one in the case of this vehicle is the body shell. This is usually where it gets a little complicating, especially if you don't have a boot like this one has. It has no trunk to it. It's just all one piece. So what you want to do, try to pick out what's going to be the easiest to detach first. So hopefully, yeah. So usually what I try to do is get the roof first because that's just the biggest chunk. And it looks like hopefully that's going to detach. So as one piece without anything left behind. We're going to look and see. Okay, see, there's a little piece there that's still there. So we're gonna bring that back, get in, and then we're gonna go from the top view. Go ahead and highlight this little back that didn't. You could probably do the separated tool on this as well, but I just like to highlight it just to make sure I get it, and then if I miss something, back to it. But yeah, there we go. So now everything on this, that's kind of on the back. I don't want to do that. I take that back. Let's go ahead and redo this one again. But what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the back half of it. So looking from the left side here, this is probably going to be the line. Yeah, see, there we go. That's the line for the back of the truck. So this can be a UV map to the back so somebody doesn't have switched over. So if we do this, this should just be the. Okay, so that's just the roof. What we're going to do is we're going to leave that as it is. Now we have a roof. And then we should be good on the left side. Yep, this is going to be our left. This is going to be our right. Once we get the back taken off, we should be set to start doing the template itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the separator. We're going to. That's not going to cooperate with it. Maybe you have to do this manually. Do this. Again, I'm doing this from the left side just to make sure I get everything across the entire back. This is extremely important on the back because you might just get a little piece here, then you'll miss the rest of it down there, and it won't grab it correctly like it should. See if I can get it. Probably gonna be the. You want to make sure you have all these views open too. It just makes it that much easier when you're looking to see which is um to grab the polygons. If you don't do this, you'll be sitting here for hours just hitting single, basically just hitting single pickup. Oh, it looks like that goes to there. How does it go? Quite go. Detach it now and so as you can see, it looks almost correct. We're just missing a little piece right here to make it easy. Back out of that again. Goes. Don't need that right now. Side seam. Okay, it looks like we were missing a lot actually. Kind of want to just look and see, like in this case, I probably don't want this one because it's more on the side of the vehicle and not the back of the vehicle. Take these off. And when you're doing it from the user view here like this, you got to be extra careful because if you're using the quad, it will pick up anything that is on the other side as well. So you got to be careful because then all of a sudden you're going to be UV mapping a back and then part of the left side is going to be part of it and it's not going to look. Looks like this one side, which makes sense. Take this. So it's nice and neat. So I'll tell you right now, if you don't do this evenly, you're gonna have a messed up template. It's not gonna look right. Yeah, fix this bottom. Which that might be part of the left side. Well, we're gonna add that. I didn't want to, but it looks like it's actually part of the back of the vehicle. Makes sense. Have it there. Just the reason again to doing all this is just so when somebody is creating a livery for the vehicle, it just makes it that much easier. You'll notice on like on a regular vehicle, download it or something, that this is not always the case. Like I said, this is a Rockstar car, so it makes it a lot easier. Some people, when they're doing this, don't polygons up correctly on both sides. It does not. So before we go and detach it, I'm just gonna make sure I have nothing else on. If highlighted by accident, attach that, and we're gonna take a look and see. Yeah, we're missing a lot. So we're gonna have to grab those little pieces there around the window trim. And you can see I'm moving the camera a lot. It's just so I don't pick up across the backing of it to a side. Catch it again and okay, that's perfect. That's how you want it to be. Just a clear, clean cut from the back, so it's different from. So the back of this is done. Oh, actually, no, it's not. I've seen this. Do that again. Stuff I missed. Take a look. A couple more. This is the only troubling part when it's all. Got to do a lot of checking to see if you caught all the polygons. Catch it. Okay, now that looks correct. It might be a little off, but most part it looks right. And it could be. Yeah. Okay, so next part is the sides. This part is easy now because I've done the roof and I've done the back. All you got to do is select one, or go into polygon mode, select one side, and then just detach the one side. And that's it. Now the body shell is completely taken apart. So now you have the entire car in pieces ready to go. And make sure you highlight everything here. I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to do another save as a backup. A1. So now you have your vehicle all set up here, ready for this. So the next part is to set up the material for the template. What you're going to do is you're going to go to your material browser. You're going to look for the paint job that you're using right now. Want to look for something that says paint 3. If you don't have it, just go ahead and take a paint 1 and it should be fine. So even though this says paint 3, I'm going to take a paint 1 just to help you guys out here, just to kind of go through the entire process. So you're going to select this. You're going to go to copy. You're going to rename it. I always name mine to what it says, vehicle generic small spec map. And then you do the brackets and then paint one with the space. And now you're going to change this over here. You're going to select GTA 5, vehicle paint, and paint 3. The reason you do paint 3 is it enables multi-livery by doing this. This way, if you want to use, if you set up the car variation and the vehicle meta file correctly, you can change the livery in game and have multiple liveries for this vehicle. So like I saw somebody did a Gravedigger one once already. So you do Gravedigger, you could do any of those other monster trucks, the old Ford Bigfoot truck. It doesn't matter. But what we're gonna do is with this vehicle browser, or within the material browser, this new vehicle that we created, paint job, you're gonna scroll down. Everything should be set in here for you already from the game, copying it over. But just to give you an idea, first one is gonna be vehicle generic small spec map. This one will not be correct. What you have to do different than the way the game gives it to you is you got to change the manual UV number from 1 to 2. Next, will be blank. It's the detail 2. This is where your template file is going to go. So you're going to click here. You're going to go to all textures unless you have a YTD already set up for it. You're going to go to add. You're going to look for your template, which is right here. Here's mine in my project file. You're going to add it to here, and you're going to hit OK. And there it is. Sorry, So your template file's here. It's the second one. The next one will be how the vehicle is masked with dirt, which is just going to be what it says, generic mud car. No changes there. The spec map is going to be the vehicle generic spec map from the vehicle share file, so there's no changes there. And then the environment map is going to be the env file. This is not necessary, but people like to use it just to make sure that it looks correct. I have one that I gotten from so many dev models that I like to use, so I just take it and use this one. There's a couple of them out there. It's just pretty much a picture of like the world, just to kind of give a reflection. So you can do it, but it's not required. At least as far as I know, it could be required, but I've never ran into a problem with it. So now you have your material set up. You also have your template file in here already. So what you're going to do is you're going to exit out of this and not let my Z modeler is about to crash. Oh, no, there it goes. Save it real quick. It scared me. What you're going to do is you're going to highlight all of the body panels of the vehicle, not the entire car, just what you're working on, the body panels. If you highlight the entire car, you're going to mess up the car and you're going to need to start over because there's just no point in saving it. You only want the body panels where you've been detaching. You're going to highlight all of those. You're going to go to the material browser again. You're going to drag your new vehicle paint job into the scene selection. It's probably not going to work because it's saying, hey, wait a second, you already have something assigned to it, which is fine. Just do it again, and it will take off the assigned one to it. So the vehicle looks completely blank now. Don't freak out. That's how it's supposed to look. We're going to start templating it here with this, how it is. So now the vehicle is set up for the new template, but we have to UV map the template to it. So what you're going to do now is you're going to hide all. You're going to work on one side. So for instance, I'm going to do the driver's side first. So everything that's going to be showing on the driver's side, I need to bring up. So there's a front bumper. There's the door, obviously. One of the pieces of the hood goes on the left side. And then the body shell on the left side for this model. So you have that now. Set up your screens. The best thing to do, at least what I like to do, is I like to keep one on UV Mapper. And then this one is going to be the one that gives you the correct size. What you want to do is, it doesn't matter how you size it in here, but what you do is you go and you go to the view that you want to map. This is going to be the left side of the car, so we want to go to left. You're going to highlight everything. Make sure you don't zoom out or zoom in on this screen, or it's not going to map correctly. You're going to have one side of the car bigger than the other, and people are going to complain that your template is utterly useless to use. So what you're going to do is you're going to highlight the left side as you have it here. You're going to, in this window as well, you're going to right click. You're going to go to mapping, edit UV. You're going to pull up this. Edit UV channel map number. You need to change that to 2. That's where you put your template back in the material browser. Keep old mapping, no. You're going to generate a new map. And then you're going to force the mapping onto a material. And that mapping needs to go on your new material, which will be, unless you move it somewhere in here, will be at the bottom here. Then you hit OK. So when you click over here in the UV mapper screen, you go to material and you click on this, it should be blank because that's what your template looks like right now. You're going to highlight the vehicle within the UV mapper and you're going to go to move. And for now, you're just going to keep it out of the way of where stuff is going to get put on the template. That's it. If you move it down here, it's fine. It won't move up here. But if you move it up here, you're going to jack up the car. So now that we did the left side, we're going to do the right side. So the passenger door, we're going to do the passenger side bumper, we're going to do the fender on that side, and then we're going to do the body shell on that side. So now everything is set up for the right side of the car. but you need to change your screen again. So now that it's on the right side, you got to go to right. You're going to highlight the right side. You're going to go to mapping, edit UV. It should all still be the same from the last time you did it, so you shouldn't have to change anything here. You hit OK, it adds it to where you're already working. Then you're just going to move this down. What I like to do is, and the proper way to probably do this, so that's why they stay the same size, is I try to find an edge or the edge of one of these and try to match them up so they're about the same. They don't have to be dead on, but it's preferred to get it as close as you can. So now we have the right side of the car done. The next part, we're going to do the front of the car. So we need the front bumper, and that's going to be it, because there's nothing else on this car that's on the front. So we're going to go to front in the view, highlight it, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to edit the UV and keep the mapping the same. Now you have the front bumper. Then, gonna guess it, we're gonna do the back. And what do you do for the back? Highlight what's on the back, which sometimes it's a rear bumper too, but in this case it's just this back piece. You're gonna, or you can highlight it now, it's okay, but what you want to do is you want to go to the back view. So you're facing the back, it's gonna look the same as the front. You're gonna go to mapping, edit UV, and do the same thing all over again. Not messing up. Sometimes you'll see something and it doesn't look right here, like this, like the side will look all warped. Just simply do the edit UV map and redo it, and it should fix the problem. But now we got the back here, so we're gonna move this one. And now the final one that we're gonna do is going to be for the top of the car. So you got the roof, which I don't like this being there, but it's too late now. We've already started mapping, and chances are somebody's probably not gonna do anything like a paint job on here anyway. Lettering. So we're gonna do the top of it, and we're gonna do the hood of the vehicle. You're gonna go to the top view, and it might be kind of hard to see all of it like it is for me here. So I'm gonna do it from this view. I'm gonna highlight everything. Again, I'm not zooming out on this screen because I want it all to stay the same size, and for when I start to size it down, which we'll do here in a second. And now we have the hood and the bumper. Oh, I'm sorry, the hood and the roof. So what I like to do with this is I highlight it, and I will rotate it, and I'll rotate it at 90 degrees. That way when I put it on the template, it won't take up so much of it. We're going to move it out of the way for now. You are completely done with having to do anything on this part of it. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go into just the UV mapper. I'm going to blow the screen up just because it makes it easier to work. I'm going to start with the sides. To keep the sides the same, so again, you don't have one side bigger than the other, I like to highlight all of them, or both of them, the left and the right, and you'll move it and see it's not within this box. You want to make sure everything's within the box. So I'm going to scale them down, which now they are within the box. And then I'm going to try to move them as close to the bottom as I can, so that way they're there, and I'm utilizing as much of the space as I can. So that's going to be the sides of the vehicle. For the hood and the roof, I'm going to scale this down as well. We're going to put that up here. Now on this one, you can move, you can move the roof if you want to like reposition it. I'm not going to really care too much about it, so I'm going to just leave it how it is, just to make it easier for the user. But I am going to rescale it just a little bit more. I don't like making it too small, but I don't want to have no space for the back. So we're going to put the back on next. Scale that down. On there. Oh. And then last but not least, we're going to put the bumper, which is going to fit there anyway. So the goal with this is you want to make sure everything is inside this white box. And you want to make sure nothing is overlapping itself. And then also when you're scaling the sides, you want to make sure you scale both sides at the same time. So now that this is done, you want to zoom in and center as much as you can. And try not to highlight anything like this. Just keep your mouse pointer over here. You're going to print screen. Screenshot is saved. And now I have it here. What you're going to do next is you're going to select, and you're going to start wherever is comfortable for you, but I like to start right here at the square and just highlight the box as best as you can. So I have it. Now I'm going to copy it. So Control C copy. I'm going to delete it because you don't need it now. Then you're going to go back to the original template that you created the file, and you're going to go to edit. Make sure you zoom out so it doesn't get messed up. And I'm going to paste it with Control V. So there's the template now. But you're not done yet. You need to resize it. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to resize pixels. You're going to take off the maintain, and you're going to do that 2048. And now it's sized correctly to the file. And then something I like to do anyways, I like to create a little watermark for myself, for others when I share it. If you ever seen one of my files, you'll see that they all have it stamped on it. And then you're going to save the file, and you're done. Now if you exit out of this, and if you change this, we're going to just change this to left for the meantime. Go ahead and take that off. As you can see, now the vehicle looks a little differently. Start highlighting all of your paint work. Then autosave does. Save it just. Now you can see it's not a plain white anymore. Now the vehicle has these little grid lines on it. That's from your template. So now you can see this is the right side template. This is the back. This is the top. That's part of the top, and there's the oh, see, we have a problem. I missed a spot when I was doing it. I forgot that part of the vehicle for the front. So I'm gonna have to actually redo this. Okay, so as you can see, this is what I was talking about earlier. See how it's coming in here and it doesn't look right? It's all angled. That's not supposed to happen. What it'll do is you'll need to hit select again, mapping, UV map, and then do it again, and then it'll import in there correctly. If it doesn't look like in here what it looks like out here, there's something wrong with it and you got to redo it. I don't know why it does that. It happens. You just got to roll with it and deal with it the best you can. At least with mine it doesn't anyway. Okay, now that we've redone the template for what I missed, let's go ahead and make sure by highlighting everything, putting it on the screen, that I didn't miss a spot this time. So, as you saw before, I missed this entire front piece, which is fine. You just have to go back and redo it all again, which is what I just did. But it should look like this. You should see grid lines all the way across from the UV mapper there, and then you print screening it. And they should all line up correctly. And now you have a template made for your vehicle. What do you do next? Well, what I like to do is I'm going to save it, and we're going to put it as template assembly so I know what it is. Part of it. And you're going to hide all. And now what you're going to do is you're going to select attach. And you're going to attach everything that's one piece. So like bumper fronts are all going to get attached right now. So I'm going to attach this to this. I'm going to attach this to this. And I'm going to do the bonnet as well. Now, you don't have to do this in any particular order now. However, you will have to do something a little bit different when you're attaching it to the compound of the vehicle. Because if you don't, you're going to mess up the compound, and it's not going to work right. It's probably more than likely going to crash your game. But so now I have the passenger side door, the driver's side door, the bumper's all one piece, and then the bonnet is actually missing this little. There we go. So now these are all one piece. What you want to do is you're going to attach that back to the compound side of the vehicle. So you never want to select the compound side. Like, let's see if I can get a good example for you. Okay, perfect. So like you don't want to attach the body shell to the paint job because that's going to mess it up. What you want to do is you want to select the paint job. So you're on body shell. Go to body shell here that has the compound and then attach it to that. When you do that, it should disappear. If it doesn't disappear like this, you've done it wrong. You need to undo it and redo it. We did that one. We're gonna do the driver's side door here, but probably want to attach it and then highlight the one attached to make it easy. We're gonna do the right side as well. The bonnet, just because I know the front bumper isn't much. Brackets. There we go. So now you should have nothing left down here that's uncompounded from the paint job, which, as you can see, now it works. I think the vehicle door shut paint job is actually for the roll cage. Now that I'm looking in there, because it looks like a GTA 5 paint job. It's kind of like this bluish turquoise color, which that's fine. It's not gonna make it look any weirder or anything. It's just when you go to paint the car, you'll just end up painting the roll bar, which I guess is cool for some people. It makes it a little bit easier. So now that we got that done, that's it. Your template is done. You now have a template. The vehicle is UV mapped to the template, and that's it. Now, however, there's a problem. Your vehicle at different loads, or what a load is basically at different distances, not going to look right. So see, L0 is up close, it's going to look like the template. But as you get farther away, it's going to look like the Liberator again. As you can see, it's got a bunch of different loads to it. Fortunately, this one is probably going to be a nasty one. So we're going to actually do. So what you got to do next is the loads. We'll discuss that in the second tutorial that I make, which will be how to convert loads and properly make loads.